Hello, everyone. My name is Shanice Anderson, and I would like to welcome you to History 107 Controversial Topics Artificial Intelligence here at UAI High School. Today, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. More specifically, we're going to dive into a little of its history. We're going to look at some current developments, both positive and negative, and then also start discussing the potential future impact on society. So let's dive right in. Okay. First and foremost, I do want to say that AI has recently come back into the spotlight, and not in a good way. And so we're going to be looking at, again, the history of it, and then how we've gotten to this point. There will be times in this class where you disagree with each other. And I want you to make sure that you are remaining respectful in those disagreements. This is, again, a very controversial topic, and everyone has different feelings about it. And so we just want to make sure that we're being respectful to one another. Okay. So, in terms of the history of artificial intelligence, it's basically a branch of computer science with a goal to create machines that can perform tasks that are typically needing like human intelligence. Okay, so these tasks could include learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and even language understanding. All right. Now, although AI has recently resurfaced in popularity, you'd be very surprised to know that it's actually not a new term. AI has a very long and rich history that dates back to the 1950s, which is actually when the term artificial intelligence was coined. Okay, now the foundation of AI has two main approaches. All right, there's a lot of vocabulary surrounding AI. Again, this is an entry level course, and so I just want to keep it simple for you all. But there are two types of AI. All right, there's symbolic AI, and then there's machine learning. Okay, now symbolic AI requires predefined rules and logic to mimic human intelligence. Okay, so you could think about a computer programmer putting a program into the computer that says, if you press this button, the S key will appear on the screen. Okay, it's a lot of if then. They're predefined rules. All right, and it's very hard for the artificial intelligence to operate outside of those rules. It doesn't go rogue. Now, on the other hand, machine learning, or what we call generative AI nowadays, uses algorithms. There's that word we all know, right? Especially from TikTok, to enable computers to learn from data input and then improve their performance over time without explicit programming. So essentially, the machine or whatever it is learning based on experience. Okay, now that sounds a lot more like what we do as humans. Okay, now in recent years, we have witnessed remarkable breakthroughs in AI. And this is largely in part to the large data sets, advancements in computing power, and even the fact that more people in the world are using advanced technology than, let's say, even 20 years ago, right? Now, here is where we start to get into some of the qualms, right, or the cons of AI. There's a concept that is attached to machine learning. So remember, we have symbolic and then we have machine learning. And if we take machine learning a little bit further, we get into something called deep learning. All right. And this is the part of AI that is really designed to mimic the human learning experience. Okay. Basically, it creates these neural or brain networks that are multifaceted, tons of layers, that are capable of solving very complex problems like image recognition, okay, or natural language processing. I know we've all heard of Chat GPT, or even autonomous driving. So the idea of a self-driving car, all right? And again, this is where a lot of the debate around the term AI is centered, and this is what most people mean when they discuss AI nowadays, right? Now, in terms of its impact, AI has again been around since the 1950s, all right, but it's seen periods of ebbs and flows, all right. But in recent years, it has impacted numerous industries. whether it's healthcare, finance, transportation, and even entertainment, right? So in healthcare, we've seen a lot of positive results from AI. It can help with medical diagnosis, drug discovery, development of personalized treatment plans, and all of these things are designed to keep us well. Okay, so for example, let's say you go to the gym and you start a new workout program and you input your information, right? Your name, age, weight, height, fitness goals, how many times you go to the gym per week, water drinking, and all these things. And the AI or the app program, whatever you want to call it, is going to generate a program specifically designed to cater to your needs. Okay. In terms of finance, right? Let's say you want to invest in the stock market, but you don't know where to start. You now have different apps. I know one is like Robinhood, right? That can take your current financial spending habits, and then look at the types of investments you want to make, and then recommend different stocks for you to invest in. Okay. And it can also help you, let's say, if you want to buy a house, right? But you don't know where to start. You tell the computer or whatever software you're using where you want to live, how much you want to pay. And then you can even figure out, okay, if I change the color of the floor in 20 years, how much my house will be worth. All right. So again, the capabilities for AI are endless. Now, with that being said, there are some challenges and concerns, and I want to cover three major ones. Okay. The first one is bias. Okay, this new deep learning model of AI that is reliant on human input, which naturally contains bias, means that the AI also generates bias, again, based on that human input. And that bias can go unchecked. A lot of times when we have biases, again, we check ourselves and say, okay, I can see where my biases may have skewed my opinion or perception of something, right? AI does not do that. It just continuously, at least in the deep learning form, it continuously takes that human input and refines its opinions or output based again on whatever is said to it. Okay. And so, of course, we don't want to, have anything discriminatory going on, anything overly biased going on without being checked. So that is definitely an area of concern. Another important aspect of AI that people are concerned about is the fact that it is used to replace jobs. I vividly remember walking into a supermarket as a child and even a teenager and going in, getting my groceries, and going to the cashier, checking out, giving them my cash or, later a debit card, and going about my day. It was a nice human interaction. Nowadays, when you go into stores, you hardly see cashiers. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but you definitely see more checkout lanes. And now there are even programs where you can go in and pick something up off the shelf, put it in your cart, and it'll automatically be scanned for you so that you don't have to have any human interaction. Like you can pay from the cart, okay? And so the problem with that is that, yes, the tasks are streamlined and automated, but also you're taking away job opportunities, okay? So that's, again, another issue with AI is that it could cause a huge shift in the job market. And we're also seeing that too with the current writer strike, where writers, one of the things that they're striking against is the use of artificial intelligence in the creative process, right? So keep an eye on that. And last but not least, and this one has a lot to do with you all, especially in high school, there's a lot of concern in academia about the use of generative AI for student work. We have seen an uptick in students using AI to complete assignments rather than do honest work. And so one of the ways that the educational system has tried to solve this problem is by putting out AI warnings, but also understanding that AI may be here to stay and that it can possibly be a useful tool when used correctly. And so because that's more of a newer development, each educational setting has its own policy for that. And so you're going to see a lot of shifts in education as well, including in this class. All right. So looking ahead, all right, we know that the future of AI is promising. and exciting, but largely unknown. And that, again, generates a lot of different feelings in a lot of different people. And you yourself in this class might wrestle with different feelings related to AI and maybe even change your feelings by the end of the class. Okay. Nevertheless, it is continuously evolving, and researchers are continuously generating new ways to use the AI, and then also ways to improve its current use based on human feedback. Okay, so this week, again, this is the introductory week. We're going to focus on the history of AI. We're going to look at its origins in the 1950s during the Cold War and the space race. And we're going to look at the role of governments in funding these early AI projects. You're also going to look at those different periods of ebbs and flows. Again, AI was not always a hot topic, and there were moments where people did not support AI. All right. And then, of course, you're going to look at the different types of AI because there's a lot of different terminology. And so I want to make sure that you guys are well versed in the vocabulary before we move forward. Right. You're also going to look at a few different arguments in support of or against the use of certain types of AI. All right, again, AI is an umbrella term, but when we look at specific arguments, we'll see that there are people who support AI to an extent, and then maybe those who support it completely. Okay. And then for your discussion this week, after you look at the history and the different arguments, I want you to take a stance. And I'm going to throw out a blanket question, and that is AI beneficial or harmful to humanity, and why? And so in order to answer that question, you're going to need to have the definition of AI, right, and understand it and its different types and the history and the arguments before you develop your own. And then finally, you're going to create a research proposal that is related to some aspect of AI. So, for example, I am a diabetic who wears a sugar monitor on my arm, which is a form of AI. And so then I could conduct a research project around the use of AI to treat diabetes. Okay. So again, in conclusion, right, we talked about the history of AI. We know that it is not a new concept. It has tons of capabilities, but also limitations. And the big debate right now is whether or not it's being used properly. And then of course, there's a lot of fear around it replacing humans. Okay. So I want to thank you all for your time and attention. Next week, I look forward to us refining our research proposals and focusing again on a specific type of AI, and then we'll branch off from there. All right. Everyone have a wonderful day. I want to thank you again for